What's good, YouTube? Get your Analysis Playground t-shirts on my Facebook page. Message me. You can get any color shirt, any color logo that you want. All you're doing is customizing the logo on a shirt, whether you want it black or white, red and white, or even just a black and red like this t-shirt. But you can also change the color of the shirt. And let me know if you want one. Message me on Facebook and I can get one sent out to you. Bye. Today we're going to talk about De'anthony Melton, a solid player. He's 6'3" with a 6'8" wingspan. He has decent finishing ability, even though he did go against college and summer league talent. It's going to be tougher when he's in the NBA. But I like that he can contort his body. I like the fact that he's lanky and he knows the angles. He knows when to flick it. He uses his length to get over smaller point guards or even his physicality to create the space like you see these last two. And then he just floats it in because when you 15 feet or under, it's so easy when you over 6 feet to just put the ball in the air and just gets it to the basket, especially when it's a soft touch. It mostly goes in. And you see he got some explosiveness when he gets that first step. He can lay the ball in with a floater or just lay it in with a layup. Not really the dunker, but as long as you finish in the play, I'm fine with it, especially if it counts as a point. Another thing I liked about him in Summer League was his ability just to be able to get on the ball or off the ball. But him being able to handle the ball and get the ball to the rim is something special. But also the fact that he can shoot the three. And the reason why I say these things in conjunction is basically because that's what Houston want. They want you to get to the free throw line, or they want a layup, or they want a three. And one thing he showed in Summer League is that he can get to the basket and create his own shot. But not only that, he can shoot the three, whether it's off the dribble or off the ball. He can consistently knock down threes at a decent percentage. Now, he ain't 36, 40% three-point shooter because he haven't played in the NBA yet. But in Summer League, he was shooting threes, whether it was in the corner or at the top of the key. And remember, he can play both guard positions because he's 6'3". He can play the shooting guard or that point guard position. And he's a solid defender on top of that, so he's going to get minutes there. But the fact that he fits in what Houston and Mike D'Antoni is trying to do with this team, whether it's late in the shot clock, whether it's just playing off of James Harden, or even Eric Gordon or Chris Paul, he can knock down the three. But also, if they're on the bench, he can create his own three-point shot and he can get to the basket. And that's what they want to do in Houston. You see a lot of this in this footage that he's literally creating his own shot off the dribble or creating shots from other people, and he's knocking down that three ball at, the 25, 24 range. And that's about what you want to do. And if you want playing time in Houston, that's what you're going to have to do. And he shows that he's been able to do it. Another thing is that I like that he was able to draw attention when his penetration. And you know what happens? You have Clint Capella and other guys on this roster that loves to be in the paint, that loves to stay in that paint area. And these are all going to be easy baskets for those guys because you're so worried about stopping the guards in the perimeter play that it allows them to get easy baskets. And that's one thing that really happened for De'anthony Melton, even in Summer League, is that he got a lot of easy baskets for other players, and mostly the big man. And Clint Capella is a guy that just invested 4 years in a lot of money, and he's been the focal point of their offense, a mainstay in offense. And then you see through these, and you see him making the Chinese guy look a lot better than he really is. But Clint Capella is going to be a better finisher around that rim and going to be a live target. And then you still have other bigs on this roster that he can play with when he's on or off the court. He's going to make good decisions. And you also see that he can kick out to spot-up shooters like Tucker, Harden, and Chris Paul. So my final thoughts on De'anthony Melton. He had a solid Summer League, obviously having a 20-point game and a couple 17-point games, showing that he's a solid guy. He's the rookie and the vet. He's going to be a guy that may not get that many minutes, obviously, because Eric Gordon and Chris Paul and James Harden and other guys like that is going to get the bulk of the minutes. But he's a guy that he's a two-way player. That's something that I gave Daryl Morey credit for the last couple seasons, is that he's drafting and trying to find two-way players. He just don't want somebody that can just do one thing. He wants guys that can do multiple things, play multiple positions, defend multiple positions, and also be able to have multiple skills offensively before he puts you on the roster. Like I said, he's been doing this since, 14? He's been trying to find these two-way players. You can even say it longer than that, but I'm saying since he had James Harden, because before that it was not making the playoffs. Now, even though James Harden was a two-way player, defensively, but obviously offensively he was being able to pass and score the basketball. And now he tries more on defense. He's not an elite defender, but he's better. But De'anthony Melton is a solid pickup, considering that you pick him up in the second round, late in the second round. Not only that, the fact that you're not going to be paying him that much because he is a second round pick. And on top of that, he fits into the scheme and he fits in what you're trying to do. You have a point guard that can play the 2 or the 1. He can shoot the 3 off the dribble, on the ball, off the ball, and he can create his own shot. So he can get to the paint like you've seen. He can get to the free throw line, and he's a playmaker too. He's not the best assist guy. He's not the best playmaker, but coming off that bench, if you have an injury and you have a guy like this that's hungry, you have a guy like this that knows how to play, and he's going to be ready to play because he's going to be a next man up type of guy. I like it. It's better than having somebody that you have to sign, or you have to pick up somebody from the G League. You have a guy that you already know that can play. You have a guy that already understands the system, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be prepared to play basically when an injury or something severe happen, or even a trade. He can be one of those players that you can throw into a trade like they did with Sam Decker, a guy that teams won't mind having because he's a solid player at worst, and he deserves a roster spot. So I can see him being added into a trade down the line, but I can also see him being a 7th or 8th guy on the roster, giving you good contribution. Now, will he be a superstar? Usually, if you draft in the second round, you're not really looking for a superstar. You're not really looking for a franchise player. Obviously, you still would like to get one, but you still want players that want to contribute. And they're in a situation right now in Houston where at the end of the day, they just went to the Western Conference Finals. At the end of the day, there was only one quarter because they was leading. So there was one quarter away from being in the NBA Finals. So even though you want to get as many franchise guys as you can, you still need the players that can come in and contribute. Now, De'Anthony Melton, I'm not saying that he hits his ceiling. He's not going to get any better. He still has potential, and he's going to be learning from other great players like Chris Paul and James Harden in the locker room, but also on the court and in practice. So he's going to get some reps. He's going to get the knowledge, and they're going to make his job a lot easier because he's playing with other great players, and they make your job easier because they take a lot of attention off you. And that's one thing I like with Melton. He's a versatile guy that a guy like Daryl Morey will want. His ability to do the things that they already need him to do, whether he's on the ball or off the ball, is very special. And I think that having these stars make his job a lot easier too. So I think at the end of the day, this is a solid pickup. I think worst case scenario, he's a rotation guy, and as a second round pick, that's pretty good because I think he's going to be in the league for a little bit. I don't think he's going to be out of the league that quick, and he looks like a solid player. He looks like a player that can contribute right now. I think a lot of people shouldn't have passed up on him because he could potentially be a starter. Will he be your franchise point guard? I don't know about that, but he does look like a guy that can give you 15 points and 5 assists as a starter. And some teams will take that. But we in a golden age of point guards where every point guard can give you 20 and 5 and 20 and 6. So maybe not, what you will want out of a franchise guy right now, but we also don't know how good he will be if he got more touches, if he got more minutes. He might be able to give you 20 and 6 if he had the opportunity to do it and had the minutes. So we don't really know how high this guy is going to be. We don't really know what he's going to be. And obviously having Chris Paul and James Harden going to help him grow as a player, help him understand the game better, and they can pass on knowledge to make him better quicker. But it also will stunt his growth because that will give him less playing time on the court because he has guys that's going to take the bulk in the most of the minutes. So he's not going to be able to play as much as he wants to because he went to the Rockets, but they will actually help him achieve more things and help speed up his basketball growth because he's playing with them. But not only that, they can help mentor and help him be a professional. Not only that, they can help develop his game and make him more a well-balanced player, which he's already there, but he just has to do it consistently, and he has to do it on the NBA level, which he hasn't been able to do yet because he hasn't played the NBA game. So for what he did in Summer League, it was impressive. He was one of the better rookies in Summer League, and that's why I wanted to make a video particularly about him because he was a guy we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't really know what he was going to do. Nobody was really looking forward to seeing him play in Summer League, but he was able to go out there and put on some good shows and some good games. And people started saying, like, yeah, he's one of the best rookies so far. He really has played well, and he turned some heads and earned some respect by how he played and handled himself in Summer League. So he was a guy that I personally seen, and I liked what he was doing. And I didn't really know much about him. I didn't really wasn't a big fan about him. And I watched him in summer league, and I'm saying, hey, he can play. And he deserves to be in the NBA. He deserved it to get drafted. So it ain't like they giving it to him. He went out there and played well in summer league. And to me, they haven't gave him a contract yet, but he deserves to be on his Houston roster. Now this team is stacked, and he won't be getting the minutes unless an injury happens. But like I said, in that time, he probably can go to the G League and get up some shots and get in some games so he can stay in shape and he can continue to learn because he's only 20 years old. So I think that even though he might not get 15 to 20 minutes, they can always just put him in the G League and help him grow and put what he learns in practice and be able to put it and do it on the court outside of practice in the G League. And the G League is competitive. It ain't the best place to evaluate talent, but it's better than not playing basketball at all and sitting on the bench collecting a check and you can't play. And that do make you miserable too. You get to the NBA, you ecstatic, everybody want to see you play, everybody rooting for you, and then you get to the NBA, you can't even get on the court. And that's what happened to him in Houston because he just went to a team that's loaded with perimeter players. So that's realistic. I think Melton will be a solid player. I can definitely see him in the league for years just by playing a role, shooting a three, and just understanding what he has to do and knowing that, he may not be the most athletic guy, may not be the best prolific scorer, but guys like, Jared Bayless or a guy like, it's a lot of veteran point guards in the league that he can really just understand the game, play his role, listen to the coach, and he's going to continue to stay on the roster. And the fact that he can shoot the three and handle the ball, that's going to keep him in the NBA. But I'm not saying he should settle for that. But at worst, I think that he will be in the NBA. So let me know what you guys think about Melton. Do you think he's going to be a bust? Do you think he's going to be a guy in the league for 2-3 years? Do you think he's a guy that can make it 10 years by knowing his role and doing his job well? Or do you think that, hey, he could be a franchise guy or an all-star, he just needs the opportunity in the play? Or do you think he's just going to be one of those players that was good in college that just didn't pan out and make it good in the NBA? So it's always going to be all those things. One of them going to happen. I can't really predict based off how he played in Summer League. Will he be a star or a superstar? I didn't see superstar in Summer League, but there was a lot of guys that when they played in Summer League, whether they was a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10th pick, some of those guys, even this year, those lottery picks didn't play that well in Summer League. And also, most of those guys don't become franchise players either, and they lottery pick. So for them to get a guy that's solid, that can play, that can contribute right away when he's given the time and the minutes, and he fits right into the scheme and the system offensively and defensively, it makes a good pickup for the Rockets. And it's a guy that you're not paying that much money to. You can always cut him and it don't hurt you because he's not going to make that much money. So this is a low risk, high reward. The guy can be a solid starter for you, and you're not paying him that much for the first couple years that he's under contract. And if you ever want to get rid of him, or you want a roster spot, you can always just waive him and just give it to somebody else and move on from it, or even just trade him for a second-round pick if he becomes a solid starter. So either way it go, this gives them flexibility roster spot-wise, while also giving them a guy that can come in and contribute and play right away. So this is a solid pickup for the Rockets. They're not complaining, the fans not complaining, and you get a guy that can play, and you get a guy that can potentially develop into a starter. Kind of like Patrick Beverly did. Nobody really seen how good he was. Nobody really knew how good he was going to be. But he went out there, played hard, got it back into the NBA, and he was a solid starter for this Houston Rockets team. And he was a part of a team that went to a Western Conference Finals with Dwight Howard. So that just shows you that you don't have to be the biggest or best player, but you can still contribute on a good team. Kind of like Derek Fisher. He was a guy that was always solid, always hit the big shots, always was on championship teams or teams that was in the playoffs. Wasn't the best scorer, wasn't the most consistent scorer, wasn't the big name player, but he did the little small things that hit the big shots when they needed to be made, and did play this role throughout the game, whether it was taking 10 shots or taking 4 shots. He still was able to help contribute to championship teams, and he made some shots that allowed them to win those championships. So they needed him just as much as he needed them, and Milton could probably be one of those type of guys. Let me know how you feel about him and what you think about him in the comment section below. Like if you like the video. Check out my t-shirts on analysisplayground.com on my Facebook page. Click the link, it sends you to my website. Click the link, it sends you to my Facebook page. Like on Facebook to show support. And if you want a t-shirt, you can get any color t-shirt, any color logo. And if you want a t-shirt, message me on Facebook. We can get the shirt that you want. I'll show you it, mail it out to you, and I'm gone. Let me know what you guys think about the Houston Rockets and De'Anthony Melton.